If you're a skilled golfer, this is the video for you. We've got the top 5 most popular players irons of 2022 as decided by our award-winning fitting staff here at Second Swing. Today, Thomas and I will discuss them and we'll do some testing. If you enjoy the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you give it a like. Hey golfers, I'm Drew Mahowald of Second Swing Golf. I'm joined by Thomas Campbell, Master Club Fitter at Second Swing. Outside today on the driving range, a beautiful summer day, and as we wrap up kind of the main golfing part of the season, we wanted to discuss our most popular lists, right? So we're going to start with players irons, the most popular players irons of the year based on what our fitters think in fittings, right? And so this is kind of a unique list because I think, people think players irons and they think blades, but we're thinking of the most popular in this category based on the type of golfer we get, which usually isn't the +5, +6 handicap.
Correct.
Usually it's that kind of scratch or maybe a single-digit handicap that's looking for an iron that feels good, that can be workable, but also give you enough forgiveness. So we've got our 5 favorite models here today.
Yeah, and I stopped in at the Minnetonka store today and I was asking club fitters. So I said, give me your top 5. And these were the top 5 that we came across here and we agreed on. There is one we left out though, one manufacturer that has been a little more challenging this year is Ping. Yeah. So I would normally throw in the Ping i210. Yeah. However, we noticed that their supply of 210 is out. Yep. And they'll have something coming here in the future, but that's why that Ping irons are not included. Yeah, I mean, I play Ping i210 and I would definitely vouch for it to be in this list, but obviously that is the kind of probably 3+ years old now, so we want to do something that is still kind of in the fitting matrix here for 2022. So I guess I'll start here. We're going to kind of go over each of these. I got the Srixon ZX7 in my left hand here, and I know that's been super popular in the comment section on our page. The ZX5 and ZX7 irons, that VT sole I think is the best feature there. Very clean turf interaction, especially for those players with maybe a steep attack angle. Really smooth through, and I like you also kind of call these a spin killer, if you will. So if you're someone that spins the ball a ton, gets that ball lost in the wind, ZX7 might be the club for you. Yeah, underrated iron for sure. Spin killer, a little to do with the loft. The loft is a little bit stronger than a couple of those manufacturers. Sure. I got the Mizuno Pro 223 is the next one here. So I think Mizuno irons, that feel is iconic, and the way they forge is that grain flow forging process. Delivers a superb and soft feel, but this iron's actually got a little bit more juice packed into it distance-wise. We've noticed that in testing right away in our initial spring report, I think last December almost. We noticed a little extra pop with this player's cavity iron from Mizuno this year, but still maintains that really good feel that we're used to from Mizuno. Yeah, it's a little bit larger profile, so it's a little bit more forgiving. Also at 32 degrees aloft as well. But that Mizuno feel, you just can't get past the look and the feel. They look great. Right, and the number 3 iron I have here is the Titleist T100. I think the thing that we were most impressed with the new T100, the new T series, is how that look has been refined. Much cleaner, almost like a blade, it looks like at a dress. Very thin top line, but it still maintains that solid feel, and then it's a classic kind of player's iron type performance. The best players in the world on that Titleist staff, the Jordan Spieths of the world, are playing this iron for a reason. It delivers. Yeah, and I think it's important you say almost like a blade, because it looks like one at a dress. It does. But it's definitely a cavity back iron looking down at it. Definitely gives you that stability when you need it on those mishits. It's just been sleeked down every generation, the last couple of generations. Yep, absolutely. All right, so I got a couple more here. So I have the Callaway Apex Pro. It also has sleeked down a little bit in the last couple of generations here too, and it's a very, very good performing club, kind of in the middle with regards to the loft. The T100 is 34. This has 33 degrees of loft on it. So good looking, appealing club looking down at. Yeah, and a lot of pop with that one too, for a kind of a player's iron. A lot of extra pop in there for someone that maybe still is looking for that distance to maintain it at least, or maybe even gain some distance. Apex Pro could be a winner. Speaking of pop, this has been, so I believe this is the strongest performing 33 degree 7 iron out there. Yeah. TaylorMade P770 iron. It is, it definitely performs with regards to distance. It's a good looking compacted club looking down at it. Definitely has a little extra juice behind it. Yeah. And I think that club can work for a wide range of players because it is built like, it's got the same materials and the same kind of DNA, as they say, as the P790, which is a thicker player's distance iron. But because it's such in a small package, you see lower handicaps, you see even
pros on tour putting this in the bag, because it can, and that's a pretty wide range of players that it's fitting. So it's got the workability, it's got a really good look to it, and also has a ton of pop, like you mentioned. So 5 players irons here, the most popular ones. I think we've got maybe some brands in there that are a little bit kind of surprising, like Srixon maybe, but also some of the classics, with the TaylorMade, the Titleist, the Callaway, all in there as well. So without further ado, Thomas, let's do some testing. We'll kind of compare some numbers on Trackman, and we'll really see maybe what's the best of these 5 irons.
Sounds like a great plan for today's test. Project X 6.5 golf shaft in all the clubs, so this will be a great comparison, comparing all with the same golf shaft, all standard length, all standard lie angle.
Perfect. Definitely see that the right bias with Mizuno there.
A couple of shots there, yeah,
that
right?
lie angle that's a little bit flatter.
Not bad.
That was a pretty good shot. I almost hit that guy.
Almost got him.
That one's good. Low face?
Low face. I find quite interesting there with that club. It's shot 2 and shot 5. I feel like I didn't quite catch as good, but I feel like I got away with it.
You still hit that one 194.6 on total. That one's good.
That's a little heavy. That's fine. Got away with it.
So Thomas, testing completed, the 5 most popular players irons of 2022. And I did want to ask before we get into the numbers, just in terms of the feel on each of these 5 irons, was there maybe one that was the softest and one that was the firmest?
Softest was Pro Tour 23 and T100.
Okay.
Those 2 felt like the softest off the face.
Yeah.
Firmest off the face, 770. Srixon was kind of up there a little bit. And then I guess loudest, so Srixon ZX7. Loudest is probably like the Apex Pro. Was a little bit louder.
I noticed that when you're hitting too. It seemed like it was the loudest, but
yep.
Okay. Now we can dive into those numbers a little bit and kind of just do a quick comparison. And I think the first thing you notice as you grabbed the tablet, you said, this is kind of what I would expect. And I think you may be referring to like the loft a little bit on some of those where you have, the Srixon, for example, is 32 degrees. I think that might have been the furthest or one of the furthest. And then like the T100, for example, is the weakest in loft, and it was the shortest.
Yeah, and this was like a blind test for me. I just basically took the numbers away. I was like, let me hit 25 shots, 5 with each one. Then just take a look at the numbers and see what happens. It's kind of what I feel like I was seeing out there with regards to distance. There was a couple that were going a little bit further, and there were a couple going a little shorter. And there was one in particular that was going a little more right.
Yeah, there was. And I think that was the Mizuno, wasn't it? Because I know we've talked in the past on the channel about Mizuno's standard lie angle being a little flatter. That may have been part of it, but definitely that ball seemed to err on the right a little bit.
Yeah, so you can see the white circle here, a little bit more to the right side. Actually, every single dot was a little more right of center. And I also kind of noticed the face to path was, I think it was 0.2. So I had, on average, 2 feet of curve to the right. So it wasn't really much. It was just like it was just a little bit more of a push. Yeah, exactly. Mizuno was a little flatter than other manufacturers. And I just had a little hard time. You know, if I was to play a Mizuno iron, I'd probably have to play a couple degrees upright. Yeah. So that's what we noticed there. Going back to the numbers, though, I find it interesting here. There's some separation here in ball speed, kind of how you would expect it because of the loft. Okay. So first off, we can kind of talk about T100. T100 has got the highest amount of loft on it at 34 degrees, ball speed at 127.8, smash factor 1.37. So these are kind of the one numbers that I'm used to seeing. Yeah. Carry 179. Yeah. So that's pretty much close to what my normal numbers are with the 34 degree 7 iron. Sure. We kind of move our way up. We look here, Apex Pro. 131.8, 142, smash factor 184.3. So that club there has 33 degrees of loft on it. The outlier, once again, is P770. Yeah. That's the other club that has 33 degrees stated loft on static loft on it. However, it went about 8 yards further than the Apex Pro. Yeah, which is crazy. So what was your carry on that then? Over 190? It was 192.6. Yeah,
and so it's the same loft. I mean, we've talked before on. We've shown it P790 or P770. Those things are just rockets. They just launch that ball. There's an extra bit of juice on there. It just takes off a good 5-10 yards further, and we see it here in this test.
Yeah, it was about 800 RPMs less spin also than the Apex Pro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then ZX7 is the other one that was going far. Yeah. So you can see here ball speed. Just a little less than the P770. However, it wasn't quite swinging that one as fast. Notice there. So the smash factor was the highest at 1.46 versus 1.45 with the P770. But the spin was also just a couple hundred RPMs less than the P770.
Yeah, it's almost like the P770 behaves like a 32 or even 31 degree iron with that 7 iron. It's almost like it plays like a stronger loft than it is.
Yeah, well, it's also kind of interesting. ZX7. Yeah, basically ZX7 and P770 were doing the same thing. We're talking about half a mile an hour difference. Wow, yeah. And then half a yard difference in total and carry distance. Yeah,
so they're right on top of each other essentially out there.
Right, yeah. I find it interesting. Apex Pro was the highest spinning. It was up there with Mizuno Pro 223, 69.14, T100 69.11, and then Apex Pro 7086. Okay. So there's a little more spin there. The Mizuno Pro 223 makes sense because the ball was going to the right, and the T100 also makes sense because it's got more loft on it than the others. And then we can once again kind of look at the dispersion pattern here, see if there's anything that stands out here. I think P770 was going straight and far, so the red circle. Right. I usually ask, what circle do you like better on the screen? That was pretty good. And then T100 and Apex Pro were probably the next two smallest circles. The other two were just a little bit larger.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I think it's in a test like this, it kind of comes down to what the player needs too, because there's so many different advantages that we noted. Like for example, if you miss left, right, like the Mizuno Pro 223 might be one for you, or if maybe you are looking for distance as something that you're going to emphasize with this iron set, P770, ZX7 might be options for you there. So it does depend on what the player is looking for, but clearly there's a wide array of benefits to be had in this category with these 5 irons here.
Yeah, and it's a good example too, like when it comes to loft, we can tweak the loft on other clubs. So if someone particularly likes a ZX7 but wants to play a little more spin, hey, we can play that thing at 34 degrees of loft to increase the spin if you like that particular head. Yeah. So it's a great way to show the differences in what spin does with regards to distance, but it's also a great way to show that, hey, there's still a couple irons here that do just outperform a couple based on the way they are built.
Yeah, there's just certain categories, certain attributes that they might be stronger than others, but at the end of the day, they're all 5 really good clubs, and there's a reason they're the most popular irons in fittings at Second Swing this year in 2022 in that player's iron category. So without further ado, I think we just say, golfers, if you're interested in one of these irons or in that player's iron category, you know what to do, and that is to schedule a fitting with one of our certified master fitters, either in the store at one of our store locations, or you can do it online with one of our online master fitters, and they'll walk you through either phone or a virtual fitting, and they'll get you dialed in as well for one of these sets. But Thomas, thanks for joining and hitting all the shots today. I think it was really good information. And golfers, once again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, and then you subscribe to the channel for more coming in the future.